The federal poverty level for a family of 4 is $23,550. 40,153 children under the age of 5 in Utah live in poverty. 50,658 children in Utah are living in intergenerational poverty, where their parents as children were living in poverty. I mean, all these issues are interrelated. Children cannot succeed unless we're addressing all these issues, whether it be health, financial security, education, and we address them at the earliest age possible.
We always wanted to have our family just because we love kids and we always wanted kids to be part of our life. And so when we had these infertility issues, it was just so heartbreaking. It's totally out of your control. You're doing everything you can and then you just feel like, your body has failed you. For us, I think we just got to a point where we shifted what we wanted. So we started looking into adoption. So one thing led to another, and we were able to connect with our birth parents. In walked our birth mom and our birth dad and Taya. And Taya was 1, and she was just adorable. And I said to Brian, I said, it's too bad we can't adopt Taya too, because you could tell she was gonna have maybe a different life. So Addison was born 2 months after we met them. And then we were able to bring her home and just, just falling in love with your baby. It was wonderful. And we had our family. We wanted our girls to know each other because they were full biological sisters. So we continued to stay in touch. And then she called us again. Addison was 6 months old. And she said, I'm pregnant again. Would you consider adopting this baby too? We knew it was gonna be a lot getting into like 2 kids a year apart. And we said yes. We continued to stay in touch until Olivia was born. So it was kind of wild there, having a baby and a 1-year-old. So we're just living our life with these adorable little girls, and we were worried about Taya. She spent some time in the homeless shelter, and that was really hard. It was hard for us to watch because, we had our 2 sisters. And they were having this different kind of life than she was, and we wanted that for her. Siblings have this bond. It's the longest bond you have in your life if you think about it.
It was critical in this situation for us to keep 3 adorable little children together. And we were able to recognize how much support and what length of time that was going to take. But it was easy at the Children's Center to assure them that we'll be there for them as long as it takes. And that's a heartfelt commitment that we make to every single one of our clients.
So one day, Olivia was 6 months old, Addison was 18 months old, and we got a phone call. And she says, the state has removed Taya from us. Will you take her too? Things were a lot worse than what we could even begin to imagine. And so we got some of the details from DCFS that Taya had been removed during a drug raid and that she was now in foster care. She had been placed with another family. So Brian and I began the process of becoming her foster parents.
16% of children under the age of 5 in Utah are living in poverty. A significant number of those are in families that don't have the resources, don't have the ability to meet that child's needs, whether it be drug addiction, behavioral health issues, physical issues that lead to abuse or neglect. If there are some children that are starting 100 yards behind the starting line, these children that don't have parents that can meet their needs are starting 200 yards behind.
That was her life. She never knew if her parents would be there, if they would be available to meet her needs, if they could take care of her. She had PTSD from the drug raid. That was probably the hardest physically and mentally for Brian and I to deal with because we had a 1-year-old, we had a 2-year-old. We were sleep deprived from regular, normal parenting. She would yell in the night. Some nights she'd wake up and she'd be screaming, just terrified that the police were in her room. And I would just try and reassure her, just say, you're safe. It was 4 to 5 months in, and I was really wondering, can we do this? Can we continue at this pace? Bedtime every night with Taya would take like 1 to 2 hours calming her down. And with 2 other little kids, just the sleep exhaustion really started to get to us. And I don't remember what had happened that day, but like I was at my limit. And so I took Taya to her room. And then my other 2 little girls were in the hallway and they were bawling. And I screamed at them. And that's not why I went into this. I want to be a good mom, And I got them down for their nap, and I emailed Dr. Doug and I just said, I don't know if this is working. I don't know if I can do this.
Imagine what it's like to feel like I'm going to take this child into my home because I'm full of love and I can help this child. And yet when we start that process, we're getting rejected by the child. The child is saying, I don't believe that you can be a good mom. I don't believe that you can care about me. I've grown up knowing there's a different world, and I don't even believe you're going to keep me because adults don't keep me.
And so he said the kindest thing to me. I think it was like the kindest thing anyone had ever said at a moment when you really needed help. And he just said, regardless of what you decide to do, I won't let you go through this unsupported. And that was huge, because I think at that point I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I wanted Taya, and I wanted her to have that relationship with our sisters and to be part of our family, but we just needed help. We needed more help than we ever could even begin to imagine.
We have to help children understand that every neighborhood isn't violent. They start to generate a mindset that tells them how the world works. And it tells them that the world is a cruel place. And they take on messages from the adults in that world who tell them that police are bad and that drugs are good and this is how we need to think. And these bright little kids absorb that and say, then this is how the world works. And when we bring them into treatment, we have to work very hard to help them change that story to a healthier story.
With the Children's Center, we had been going to therapy just to try and help us process what was going on and to help her process what had happened and was happening to her. Just to have Dr. Doug there, to help us explain things to Taya, like how to help her come up with a solution in her head, like how she's gonna switch it and how she's gonna make that decision for herself.
The Children's Center has always been a leader in the community for how to work with and treat very young children. We have been committed to providing care for families with young children, regardless of their income. Families who need our services for themselves, for their children, are all welcome here, and we will do all we can using charitable funds to ensure that they get the help that they need for as long as they need that care, despite whatever income and resources that they may have. There's actually not a lot of training and not a lot of programs across the country that focus solely on preschoolers the way we do. What's unique about the Children's Center is we now have outcome data that is showing for the first time the impact of the treatments we're using here. We're actually decreasing children's aggressive behavior. We're improving parent relationships. We're decreasing family stress. And we're not just saying that we think we're doing that, we have data that shows it. Families that are coming to the Children's Center are truly receiving cutting-edge treatments, evidence-based work that we know is effective and we know can help.
Taya, she's just amazing. I'm so proud of her. To see her get her childhood back, that's huge. And I love that about the Children's Center. They're little kids with big problems, and they keep the focus on helping them overcome their traumas, whether they're big, whether they're small. They're just wonderful. I can't say enough good things about the Children's Center, what they've done for our family and what they've done for Taya.